All right, for more on this, we're being joined by Ilan Levy from Tel Aviv. He's a former Israeli government spokesman and founder of the Israeli Citizen Spokesperson's Office. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Levy. Netanyahu has said it's not the end of the story. What should one expect next?
This is a dangerous escalation in the war that Hezbollah started against Israel on October 8th in solidarity with Hamas as it was waging the October 7th massacre. Let's remember, Hezbollah has been attacking Israel every day since October 8th. It's fired over 7,000 rockets and drones. It's forced 60,000 Israelis to flee from their homes as it bombs their houses. And it looks like there is no end in sight. Israel has been exercising restraint for 10 months, degrading Hezbollah's capabilities, but warning it, you have to back off or we will be forced to push you away. We cannot allow this Iranian-backed terrorist army to continue raining rockets on Israeli cities, risking another October 7th massacre on the northern border. And that remains Israel's message. This war will need to end with Hezbollah being pushed away from the northern border, just like the UN Security Council says it has to. Its presence in southern Lebanon is illegal because Israel cannot tolerate an Iranian-backed terrorist group and proxy army shooting rockets at Israeli homes. We have displaced people. We need to get them home.
Mr. Levy, I just want to now get your thoughts on the statement, rather the warning that has come from Egypt. Egypt warned against the dangers of opening a new war front in Lebanon. What do you make of this warning coming in from Egypt? And also talk to us about the US message here. Is it restrained? Is it to preempt or counterattack?
I haven't seen that Egyptian statement, but it seems strange because there is already a war between Hezbollah and Israel. Hezbollah declared war on October 8th. It saw Hamas on October 7th when it invaded and murdered festival goers at a music party and burned whole families alive and committed acts of gang rape, barbaric atrocities, and Hezbollah decided to join the war. And since then, it's fired over 7,000 rockets and drones at Israel, bombing us every single day. Now, they're not alone. Since October 7th, Israel has been under attack by the Iranian regime and its proxy armies on 7 fronts: Hamas in Gaza, Palestinian terror groups in the West Bank, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthi Islamic pirates in Yemen, Iranian-backed militia groups in Syria and Iraq, and Iran itself, which attacked Israel with ballistic missiles and drones back in April. Iran is already waging a regional war against Israel through its proxy armies, and Israel is trying to push them away. And if we want them to stop, if we want to restore stability and security in the Middle East, then we need other countries to stand up to Iranian aggression. And that's why it's so important that the UK, the US, France, Germany, Italy all said, we support Israel's right to defend itself against Iranian aggression and attacks by Iranian proxy armies. These must stop.
Mr. Levy, you're joining us from Tel Aviv. I wanted to get your understanding of how things are at your end. What's the daily movement like? Do you feel any kind of restrictions being imposed on citizens? What's the regular Israelis' life at this point in Tel Aviv?
Let me tell you something extraordinary. People are going about their lives as usual. Yes, we know that Iran and Hezbollah and Hamas and the other terrorist groups can attack at any moment, but Israelis are very resilient. They're very tough. The shops are full, the bars are full, the cafes are full. People are taking their kids to their summer camps and going to work and getting on with their lives. And we know that if there is a rocket siren, we will have to run for shelter. I'm broadcasting to you now from the rocket shelter in my office building. But Israelis aren't allowing the threats from the Islamic Republic and its terrorist proxies to get to them. They're going about their ordinary lives, and they know that if things escalate, they will have to protect themselves. But we're not going to allow the Iranian aggression to disrupt our lives and our routine.
Mr. Levy, now the ceasefire talks, in spite of all the hostilities, all the violence, all the action that is taking place at this point, the ceasefire talks are still progressing as per schedule. Any expected outcomes?
Israel has said yes to the mediators' deal on the table because we want to get those poor hostages home already. We know that Hamas has been starving and torturing and raping and executing the hostages in its terror dungeons for over 300 days. They're desperate and we want to get them home. But Hamas isn't giving an answer. Hamas doesn't want to let go the hostages it took on October 7th. Hamas wants this war to drag out. Hamas is hoping that an attack from Hezbollah or Iran will save it from a ceasefire because it's a jihadi terrorist group. It doesn't care about civilian lives in Israel or in Gaza. It says it wants to do October 7th again and again until Israel is destroyed, and it wants this war to go on forever. Hamas has no reason to end this war it started. So we need to see massive international pressure on Iran and on its backers. Enough is enough. Let the hostages go. Put this nightmare behind us so that we can move on, because those hostages have to be released. It's an urgent humanitarian issue. We can't allow them to be trapped there for a single day longer.
Mr. Levy, of course, as you also briefly mentioned, but I would like to just share your thoughts on this. Why do you feel Iran has not reacted till now? What is it waiting for? It's almost been a month since Haniyeh's death in Tehran, and they vowed retaliation. It's not happened yet.
That's a very good question. I think the Ayatollahs in Iran will be asking, if they attack Israel, how will Israel respond? And maybe they're not ready to defend themselves against Israel's response. In April, Iran fired 350 missiles and drones at Israel. It was one of the biggest missile attacks in history. Almost all of them were intercepted. In response, Israel reportedly managed to strike an Iranian strategic target in Iran. And that sent a message to the Iranian regime. Look how many missiles you shot at us. They almost all failed. Look how we were able to reach your strategic sites, and we succeeded. And that helped to establish deterrence against the Iranian regime. It warned Iran against further aggression because it said, if you come after us, we know how to get back to you. And so I hope that the Iranians will be very careful and wary of risking further escalation. But let's remember, even if Iran does not attack Israel directly, it is still attacking Israel through its proxy armies every single day on 7 fronts. Just overnight, Iranian militias in Iraq claimed to have launched a drone at Haifa at the same time as fighting with Hamas in Gaza, and this massive attempted attack by Hezbollah in the north, and as the Houthi pirates continue to attack not just Israeli, but international in the Red Sea. So it all comes back to Iran, and it's Iran that needs to be contained.
Mr. Levy, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts and your insights on how things are progressing at your end, of course, especially in Tel Aviv. But here's still hoping that the ceasefire deal is achieved at the earliest.
Absolutely. We have to get those hostages out.
To CNN. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Elon Levy joining us from Tel Aviv.